Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just dive right in today because honestly, Anthropic just dropped something super fascinating. We're taking a close look at their brand new Fable 5 model to test if this so-called baby Mythos actually lives up to the massive and frankly kind of terrifying marketing hype surrounding it. We really want to know exactly how this is going to impact our everyday software development workflows and more importantly, our tech stacks. To truly wrap our heads around Fable 5, I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine we're interviewing a brilliant, incredibly capable, but, highly pedantic new senior engineer for your team. You definitely know the type, right? They're incredibly thorough. They will find literally every single edge case. But sometimes they just get completely lost in the weeds. That is Fable 5 in a nutshell. So, to keep our technical review structured today, here's a quick look at the agenda. 1. Meet your new engineer. 2. The high cost of intelligence. 3. Where Fable excels. 4. Where Fable falls short. And finally, 5. The optimal AI tech stack. Let's kick things off with Section 1. Meet your new engineer, their Fable 5 resume. Okay, so Fable 5 represents a major milestone. It's the very first Mythos-class intelligence model to hit general availability. You might hear people calling it Baby Mythos. And that's because while the full, entirely unrestricted enterprise Mythos is locked down for select partners testing extreme edge cases, Fable 5 is the version we actually get to play with. It's got advanced autonomous orchestration, but it comes heavily tuned with super strict guardrails, specifically classifiers that block dangerous biology, chemistry, and cybersecurity tasks. Plus, it features a really strict 30-day data retention policy that's purely for catching misuse, meaning your proprietary code and prompts aren't being used to train future Claude models. So while it isn't the totally unrestricted enterprise model, for us everyday software engineers building SaaS apps or writing PRDs, this is a giant leap forward. Now check out this staggering number, 80%. When Anthropic threw Fable 5 at the SW Bench Pro benchmark, wow. It didn't just pass the test, it literally set a completely new state-of-the-art standard. And this chart brilliantly illustrates that. Fable 5 absolutely crushes the benchmarks against existing heavyweights like Opus 4.8 and GPT 5.5. I mean, from a pure raw intelligence and technical capability standpoint, Fable 5 is basically sitting in a league of its own right now. Moving right along to Section 2, the high cost of intelligence, salary expectations. Because, let's be real, hiring top-tier talent is never cheap, is it? We really have to evaluate the brutal token economics of bringing Fable 5 onto your team. Fable sits in a completely new, vastly more expensive pricing tier, way above models like Opus or Sonnet. You are looking at $10 per 1 million input tokens and a massive $50 per 1 million output tokens. If you compare that to your current Opus or Sonnet stack, the cost trade-off is immediately obvious. You're paying a really heavy premium for this new tier of intelligence. And the cost warning doesn't even stop at the base price. Fable 5 fundamentally works harder, it builds harder, and it verifies way more. Because it operates at this sort of extra high effort level by default, it is incredibly token intensive by design. In fact, Anthropic explicitly warns that Fable burns through rate limits and tokens at twice the rate of other models. So you're paying more per token, and it's using twice as many of them to get the job done. Ouch. All right, Section 3, where Fable excels, the technical assessment. With those steep costs in mind, where does paying Fable's premium actually make sense? Well, it's designed for your absolute hardest technical problems. You want to hand this model your long-running, multi-day asynchronous tasks. It natively ships out of the box inside Claude Managed Agents, which makes it absolutely perfect for dynamic multi-agent orchestration, where it might need to spin up sub-agents over hours or even days. It's also exceptional at vision and PDF formatting. And finally, when you absolutely need a super thorough, 120% verified investigation, where extreme detail is the only thing that matters, Fable is your go-to. Let me give you a highly specific example of where it just shines. Fable absolutely excels at vision tasks. On the left here, we asked Fable to format a second-grade handwriting practice sheet from a PDF. It delivered this perfect layout with super clean spacing. On the right, older models like Opus produced these dense, confusing layouts where a kid wouldn't even know where to write. When you need that spatial awareness and precise visual document formatting, Fable is remarkably gifted. But Section 4, where Fable falls short, not a culture fit. Because raw intelligence isn't everything if the output is unusable. Here's where our brilliant, seasoned engineer stumbles, overthinks, and totally fails the culture fit test. If you hand it a complex open source code base and say, hey, write me a product requirement document, it will do this intense adversarial review, tie itself in knots looking for internal logic consistencies, and basically just output giant blocks of markdown text. The specs become utterly impossible to parse because it simply cannot see the forest for the trees. It's almost too smart for its own good here. And on the flip side, its UI design execution, extremely conservative. To be completely blunt, the front-end capabilities are shockingly bad. Even with incredibly detailed prompting, asking Fable 5 to build a simple UI MVP results in overly conservative, minimal, and, frankly, just ugly outputs. We're talking gray, black, red, simple outlines, classic AI slop. Bottom line, this model is an incredible back-end orchestrator, but you absolutely do not want it designing your front-end interface. Which brings us to Section 5, the optimal AI tech stack, orchestration. So Fable is way too pedantic for writing specs, terrible at front-end design, and costs an absolute fortune to run. How on earth do we deploy without instantly bankrupting our token limits? Well, let's look at the new advisor strategy. This builds a highly efficient funnel for your software architecture, and it's how you balance those cost trade-offs. Step 1, you use Fable 5 strictly as your senior orchestrator or advisor. Let it do the deep thinking and the multi-agent planning. Step 2, you route the actual execution, the writing, the designing, the code output, down to cheaper, highly capable models like Sonnet or Opus. Step 3, you implement graceful fallbacks to protect your uptime. And speaking of fallbacks, there's this brilliant new feature in the API. Fable has those strict safety classifiers, right? For things like cybersecurity or chemistry. Well, if your user's prompt accidentally trips one of those wires, the API doesn't just crash or block your app anymore. You can pass an optional parameter that automatically and gracefully reroutes that specific request down to Opus 4.8. And the absolute best part, it executes at the standard, cheaper Opus pricing tier. It is a fantastic safety net. So, what's the verdict? Fable 5 is undoubtedly state-of-the-art. It's an incredibly powerful, deeply thorough, and undeniably token-hungry orchestrator that really belongs at the very top of your application's logic tree. It's definitely not the tool for everything, but it is the ultimate tool for complex, long-horizon back-end planning. So, my challenge to you as we wrap up this explainer, knowing its incredible strengths and its pedantic flaws, what will you strategically overbuild next with Fable 5? Analyze your stack, optimize your costs, and get building.